Good Friday morning, and thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet, the voice you know with the news you trust studio, sponsored by BASF. Visit your local ag retailer about 0% financing on all BASF crop protection, seed treatment, and Zetavo brand soybeans now through March 15th. I'm Dusty Sonnenberg. Under mostly cloudy skies, I have a negative 2 degrees on the barn thermometer, but of course, with that little bit of a breeze outside, it makes it feel like it's in the negative teens right now. It looks like this should be the worst of it for the next couple days. A couple quick calendar reminders. Optimize your planner for every pass this season. Join Precision Agri-Services Incorporated for their planner clinic. That's on Thursday, February the 5th in Minster, Ohio. To learn more and RSVP, you can call them at 419-628-4167 or visit them on the web at precisionagriservices.com. Also, the Conservation Action Project will be holding their next educational session, Next Level Agronomy, Tools and Resources to Make Soil Health Profitable. It's February 18th from 9 until 2:30 at Northwest State Community College. To make reservations or learn more, visit their website at capofohio.org/events. Again, capofohio.org/events. Well, it was a big day on the campus of The Ohio State University yesterday as Ohio State's multi-species animal learning complex had its ribbon cutting. Our own Ty Higgins files this report.
Across from the Innovation District at Ohio State sits the Multi-Species Animal Learning Complex, a world-class facility bringing people and animals together and supporting education for students at Ohio State in grades K through 12 and across the lifespan. Yesterday, the College of Food, Agricultural, and Environmental Sciences hosted the ribbon cutting for the facility. Kathann Kress is Dean of CFAES.
At CFAES, our purpose is simple. We sustain life. That purpose begins with education. We hope it's a place to answer questions consumers have about how does my food end up in my plate or at my grocery store. Education will be the center of this facility with an opportunity for people who know very little about the food system to have a chance to learn more.
Director Brian Baldridge from the Ohio Department of Agriculture was also on hand.
As we think about research and we think about the stresses on our agricultural industry, that is our number one response, is to protect Ohio livestock agriculture from dangerous animal diseases. And without the research and the work that is done here at Ohio State using a complex like this, our work cannot be done.
You can get a video tour of the new facility and hear from all the speakers at yesterday's ribbon cutting online now at ohioagnet.com. I'm Ty Higgins reporting.
Thanks, Ty. Well, let's get a check on our Friday weather forecast. Today's weather update brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance. You can learn more at seedconsultants.com.
A cold finish to the week and weekend across the Buckeye State. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Let's take a look at that forecast update. Overall here, looking at a pattern that is going to feature a little bit of a lake effect in northern tier counties of Ohio today. Really looks like the main lake effect setup is going to be farther west, coming down the fetch of Lake Michigan with strong north winds tonight and tomorrow. That doesn't mean we don't see some impact here, but given the fact that Lake Erie is 97% covered with ice, that nearly complete coverage means we can't see big lake effect potential moving forward. It'll probably calm things down through the rest of the season, at least till things open back up. So dry for the weekend, seeing mixed clouds and sunshine. Chilly, maybe not quite as cold as earlier in the week. Clipper system coming through on Monday. Scattered light snow in northern tier counties. Maybe a little bit of lingering snow in southern Ohio for Tuesday. Then dry Wednesday, Thursday before snow comes late in the week. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Taking a quick look at what's trending at OhioAgNet.com, the future of Ohio agriculture was on full display this month as Ohio Farm Bureau's Young Ag Professionals hosted their 2026 Winter Leadership Experience. Now in line with this year's theme, Harvesting New Horizons, attendees gained knowledge across multiple areas of interest, including selling at farmers markets, pathways to leadership success, navigating the USDA and FSA grant writing process, and succession planning. You can read more about this story, as well as the hidden costs behind rising food prices, management practices for soybean cyst nematode, and you can check out Ty's video from the ribbon cutting at Ohio State's Multi-Species Animal Learning Complex. All this, as well as markets and weather, online at ohioagnet.com. Stay tuned, we'll be back with more after this.
Let's talk about America. Not taxes or tweets or the issues that divide us, but how incredible our country is. Whether you come home to a crowded city street or sleepy small town, everyone deserves to live in a clean, green, and thriving community. We are Keep America Beautiful, the nonprofit working with millions of people like you to end littering, improve recycling, and beautify communities. Learn more at kab.org. Together, we can do beautiful things.
Let's check in now with our own Joel Penorwood as he previews today's biannual cattle inventory report.
The USDA's latest cattle inventory report is set for release later today. It's one of the most highly anticipated cattle reports of the year, and expectations are high for more insight into just how tight cattle numbers remain across the country. It comes as beef prices are good, and the U.S. herd continue to look for signs of it rebuilding. When will that happen instead of still staying in this sell-off point? Now, ahead of that report, we've caught up with Bill Butler. He owns Union Stockyards Company in Hillsboro. He became general manager there in 1969, by the way, and he has some thoughts from his boots-on-the-ground perspective about what today's numbers could mean for cattle markets and what to expect going forward. Bill, thanks for being here with us. How long do you think we stay at these prices?
We're going to stay good for 3 or 4 years at least, because it'll take that much to get the numbers up or bring the price down. Sure be 3 or 4 years. And I think right now we're seeing the price of, because of Mexico cattle part of it in feeders. But the guys can feed $4 corn to cattle right now, and if they bring $3.30 or 40 or 50 a pound, or $2.40 or 50 a pound, they're selling their corn a lot better than going to the elevator with $4 corn.
Now, Bill, a lot of the cattle inventory information is drawn from larger feedlots, but things like east of the Mississippi, smaller sales and feeders, how do you think that plays into it?
It's easy to collect the cattle out of the big feedlot. It's hell to get all these little guys to report the numbers. What's showing up started happening in the last couple of years is more farmer feeders, less than 1,000 head. And they're still getting a lot of cattle to kill that they don't have accounted in what their numbers are. Auctions in some of them northern states that's running 3 times the amount of fat cattle that they were 2 years ago. They're not going direct. They're going to the markets and that South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Nebraska. Basically in North or South Dakota, North Dakota, there's some of them sales get 2,000-3,000 cattle, fat cattle a day. And there some, counted in that number that they give out. So part of that's what it is. There's been no herd rebuilding in this part of the country, none whatsoever. In fact, they're still selling some off instead of keeping them for heifer, for cows. But our numbers here at the yard is steady with last year, and we feel good about that. But we drove from a pretty wide area.
What have you been seeing locally as far as trends or anything there?
We're seeing less fat cattle, probably. You start giving $3,000 for a feeder cabinet, pretty risky.
We talked a lot about herd rebuilding and how that hasn't been happening. Do you think it'll turn around in the future, or you see no signs of that right now? Yeah.
Yeah, you put money out there for somebody. The cow-calf crop been pretty good for the last couple of years, but they had to catch up so much price-wise that there's no increase in it, And our farmers are getting older. They just don't want like the way the weather's been the last few days. A lot of them just don't want them,
I was going to say, yeah, what kind of weather did you get down there? I saw you guys had to call off your auction.
Well, we called feeder sale all Monday. First time since 69 that I called off 2 sales. And I only had one other one since 69 that I called off. Other than that, I've never missed a sale in that many years.
That's Bill Butler joining us, longtime manager and owner of Union Stockyards Company down in Hillsboro. The cattle inventory report being released from USDA at 3 o'clock Eastern Time later today. I'm Joel Penorwood reporting.
Thanks, Joel. Well, with tight margins in the cash grain markets, we know that the equipment industry has really felt the squeeze. Joe Everett brings us this update.
Agricultural equipment manufacturers are taking a cautious outlook as lower crop prices and tight farm margins dampen new machinery demand. John Deere executives said recent earnings reflect softer equipment sales, particularly for large tractors and combines, citing reduced farmer purchasing power. USDA forecast shows net farm income declining from recent highs, largely due to weaker commodity prices. Dealers across the Midwest are carrying higher inventories as farmers delay upgrades. Analysts said elevated interest rates have also discouraged capital spending. Manufacturers are increasingly focusing on precision agriculture and aftermarket services as alternative revenue streams. Industry observers say equipment demand could rebound if commodity prices recover, but near-term uncertainty is prompting conservative outlooks across the sector. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Joe Everett reporting.
Thanks, Joe. Well, with all the cold weather, it's easy to forget that this coming Monday is Groundhog Day already. Now, Ohio has Buckeye Chuck and Pennsylvania has Punxsutawney Phil. But does the animal prediction carry across the nation? USDA's Rod Bain and Brad Rippey have this update.
We're just days away from learning the outcome of Punxsutawney Phil's Groundhog Day appearance and whether the visit by this rodent signals 6 more weeks of winter or an early start to spring. One question, according to USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey, does Phil's forecast just apply to western Pennsylvania or the entire country?
I think there's a little bit of question about just exactly what that means. And since it's all in fun, it really doesn't matter. We can just speculate about that.
While Phil has a prestigious history in weather prognostication, Rippey says he has competition in that regard.
Staten Island Chuck roared to fame with the interactions with the various New York City mayors a number of years ago. We've also got pretty well-known prognosticators, groundhogs in Ohio, Buckeye Chuck, and as a West Virginia native, I'll mention that there is also French Creek Freddy. That prognosticator has been making its picks for spring weather for over 40 years now. There's actually a rattlesnake in Arizona known for making spring predictions.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Thanks, Rod. Stay tuned. We'll be back to take a look at your markets after this.
Nearly 90% of farmers say that financial worries, constantly changing market conditions, and other uncontrollable variables take a toll on their mental well-being. Add in the weather and family dynamics, well, it's a lot to handle alone. But did you know farmers and their families can receive free confidential services from licensed professionals? Support is available 24/7 to help with the challenges you face. Look for Farm Family Wellness Alliance under the Resources tab at farmfoundation.org. Take care of yourself. Your well-being matters.
It's time for the Morton Buildings Building Value Days sales event running now through the end of February. Morton Buildings are built stronger, last longer, and look better. So if you're planning for a garage, farm shop, stall barn, a storage building for your RV, boat, or collectibles, or anything in between, act now. Our buildings are built to last, but these savings won't. Visit MortonBuildings.com or contact your local Morton office to take advantage of current savings on new buildings. Certain restrictions may apply. Offer valid only on select new building orders placed between January 5th and February 28th, 2026. It's time now to take a look at what's been happening at the Chicago Board of Trade and on the Mercantile Exchange. Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to bring a brand new soybean crush facility to Upper Sandusky, Ohio. Learn more about marketing your soybeans with LDC at 574-566-2113.
Grain markets worked through a volatile trading session yesterday. Corn and wheat did finish in the green a little bit. Beans were down, but the key thing is the big rallies that we saw in the morning ran out of gas at midday. Some folks tried to point to the metals markets as the biggest reason. There was a huge trading range in gold. $490 to the ounce was the range. We do not necessarily see that happen all the time. There's not a direct correlation between gold and corn, but when you see that kind of volatility in things like precious metals, you do tend to see it get more volatility in the commodity index in general. Yesterday, USDA or FSA offered no new daily export sales flashes. The weekly export sales report didn't really have a whole lot going for us either. Brokers estimate managed money secured 3,500 contracts of wheat, 1,900 of corn, but sold 3,100 contracts of soybeans. That's the way the market's finished. I'm Ryan Martin.
Thanks, Ryan. Well, let's take a look at how your markets closed on Thursday. Today's markets brought to us by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Well, March corn closed up 3/4 penny and May corn was up 1 cent. March soybeans closed down 2 3/4 cents, while May beans were down 2 cents. March Kansas City wheat closed up 4 3/4, while March Chicago wheat was up 5 1/2 cents, and March Minneapolis wheat closed up 7 1/2. Turning now to the overnight trade, we find March corn down 3/4 penny at $4.30, and May corn is trading down 1 1/4 at $4.37 3/4 cents. March soybeans are down a nickel, $10.67 1/4 cents, and May beans down 5 cents a bushel at $10.80 3/4 cents. Wheat for July trading down 2 3/4 cents at $5.58. September wheat down 2 1/2 cents at $5.71. Turning now to how the livestock closed. February live cattle were down $1.32.5 at $235.50. February lean hogs closed 25 cents lower at $87.70, and March feeder cattle closed the day down 72.5 cents at $365.12 1/2. Class 3 milk was unchanged for the day at $15.34. This is the Ohio AgNet.